All right, let's go over this. For Savannah students, this is quiz number 1B on taken on August 26, 2020. And for CVA, this is a kind of like a practice quiz that I'm giving you guys. All right, so this one says drag and drop. It's not fair, we can't see all the questions, but there it is. Drag the values that create an equivalent factored expression. So these values that we get to, these values are all right here. These are our multiple choice, and it's telling us that equivalent factored expression. So basically, we need to factor this thing. What's the very first thing you do in your factoring tree? Well, the first thing is I'm going to count the number of terms. 1, 2, 3. So it's a trinomial. And the very first thing I'm going to do is always take the greatest common factor. Let's work over here. Can we write the problem? Whoa. I didn't want that ruler. Go away. No ruler. No ruler. Okay. So I have 5x squared minus 10x plus 35. And what you can do is you can break these down into your prime factors. 5 times x, because if you multiply all those together, it gets 5x squared. Negative 10x is going to be negative 2 times 5 times x. Notice I chose not 10 and 1 because I'm trying to find something I have in common in these other boxes. And 35, I'm going to choose 5 times 7. So what do each of these boxes have in common? They have a 5. And do they all have an x? The answer is no. So then I'm just going to rewrite what's left. That would be x times x, which is x squared. Negative 2x. And that 7 there, is it positive or negative? It's a positive. So that's your answer. So if you were actually writing those, you would take your 5 on the outside, and that's what you would drag and drop right there. Then I would need x squared. So I'd put that one right here. So I have this one, negative 2x. Take this one, put it right there. And then the last one I need is a positive 7. So this one would go right there. And that's how you would get your answer. Now, I have a more complicated one, and I at least want to show it to you. It's not great. You want to try the Xbox method. So that would be A, B, and C. So A times C would be 5 extra 2, 175. And then you're taking the B value, which is negative 10. So the question is, are there two numbers that multiply to be 175 and add to be negative 10? You can list out all the combinations. 25, there are how many quarters in $1.75? There would be 7 of those. Maybe by 5. 5 goes into 17 3 times, and then 5 goes into 25 2 times. Don't check that one. Nope. 5 goes in there 3 times. 2 goes in there 5. So that should be a 35. Okay, so if I subtract any of these values, meaning I can make one of these positive, one of these negative, will it ever equal negative 10? The answer is no. So this means that it's prime. Prime means it's not factorable. Now, let's just make sure we're on the same page. You would not put this as your answer. No. No. Why? Because you can always take the greatest common factor in that problem. Okay, so that was question number 1. Question number 2. Match the following expressions in standard form. So standard form is, let's highlight it for you. Standard form, these are standard form. How do you know it's standard form? There are no parentheses. And factored form has parentheses. That's the big difference between those two forms. So they're just asking you, can you factor these? That's it. All right, let's do the first one. I'll call that number 1, and then I have x squared minus 16. Did you see why I left that big blank over here? And something should go in there. Well, if you think about it, you have ax squared plus bx plus c. And I need a number that goes in there. Hopefully you've been watching the videos. You need something called a placeholder. I called it is 0x. This means that my a value is 1, my b value is 0, and my c value is negative 16. The common mistake is to think that your c value would have been, your b value would have been negative 16. So now I'm going to do my x method, a times c, so 1 times negative 16 is negative 16. My b value, it is 0. Now we need to think of two numbers that multiply to be negative 16 but add to be 0. Hopefully you've been catching on that the trick is, if it's a 0, then these two numbers on the left and right here have to be exactly the same. Well, if they're exactly the same, it's going to be positive 4 and a negative 4. So how would you factor that one? The answer would be positive 4 and negative 4. And you have your parentheses here, x plus 4, x minus 4 is my answer. Let's see if that matches one of these. Now it says drag and drop, and essentially if you think about it, it's like multiple choice, and you have your answers on the screen. It's multiple choice, and it has your answer on the screen. Now be careful, the pluses and minuses will distract students, so pay attention to those. I'm going to write that one. This one right here, I would drag and drop right there. Let's see if I can do that. Nope. Let's try that again. Maybe if I don't do all the writing. So if I take this, no, let's try that again. Hey. All right, last time I promise. Oh, not working. One more time. No. Well, that part's not working. All right, let's go on to the next question here. Let's use, how about like a yellow or green? So that was question number 1. That was question number 1. Let's try question number 2. Question number 2 says x squared plus 8x plus 16. Again, if it helps you, you can write the standard form above it, ax squared plus bx plus c. And then there you can say that a is 1, b is 8, and c is 16. So then if I do a times c, I'm going to get 1 times 16, which is 16. And my b value is 8. My two numbers that I need there are 4 and 4. So my answer to this one is a positive 4 and a positive 4. Now, you have two of those. They're exactly the same, so I think it's actually better writing x plus 4 the exponent up here tells you how many you have. You have 2 of those. All right, so let's look at our choices. And I don't see x plus 4, but I see x plus 4 squared. So that would be my answer. Not working for me. Oh, we didn't write our answers from the last one. So the first one was x plus 4, x minus 4. And the other one is x plus 4 squared. And treat it like multiple choice, so we know it's not this one. And I know I can't use that for the third one. Okay? Question number 3. X squared plus 10x plus 16. Some of you guys can do this in your head. That's great. Ax squared plus bx plus c. That means my a value is in front there. There is no number. Put a number there. You get 1. A is equal to 1. B is equal to 10. And C is equal to 16. Now, in a previous worksheet, not that I try to trick students, but they can eventually add a 0. And you want that trinomial to be all on one side of the equation. So this would actually result in the same thing. Let's just say you wouldn't say that your C value is negative 16 here. You would just move this over and you would get x squared plus 10x plus 16. Okay? Really pixelated, sorry. All right, let's finish this problem. So then use my x method. And I have a times c, and then my b value. And then a times c is 16. And then my b value is 10. And then 2 numbers I'm looking for. You can list out all the factors of 16. Let's do that. 16 times 1, 8 times 2, 4 times 4. Notice how I wrote the larger numbers on the left side so you can subtract and make one of those negative positive if you need it. And if I add these 2 together, that equals the 10 I need. So this would be 8 and 2. 8 times 2 gives us 16. And 8 plus 2 gives us 10. So my answer is going to be x plus 8, x plus 2. This is my answer. Now, you might ask, how come I didn't use the box? So let me show you the box. In the box method, the a value, all of the a value will always go in the top left. And then the 2 numbers that we found will always go here and here, but you need to add an x. Oops. Add an x, add an x. And then your last one, your c value, will always go in the bottom right. So let's write that in. So I have x squared. I have the 8 and the 2, so I have 8x and 2x, and you have 10. If you notice something, you actually have 4 terms, and we're actually going to be doing this later on, called factoring by grouping. But then I have to think about the greatest common factor this way. This would be an x. What is the greatest common factor going up? They have an x in common. Going up this way, they're both even, so they have a 2 in common. And that is a 16, I believe, right? That was my mistake. That should have been 16. So what they have in common in this direction is an 8, and this direction is a 2. So your answers are going to be x plus 2, x plus 8, which you have still. So did you notice that if your a value is equal to 1, all I have to do is just the x. Does it still work if you use the box? It does. and it'll work on the next problem. So that last one, x plus 8, x plus 2. All right, let's go to the last one. The expression of 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 is equivalent to which of the following? So if you'll notice that you have no parentheses, standard form, to all of these have parentheses, which is factored form. So again, we're going to identify the a, b's, and c's. Sounds so silly, but just write your a, b's, and c's right above it. A is 2, b is 5, and c is negative 12. So we're going to do our x method. A times c, 2, be careful, a is 2 and c is negative 12, so this would be negative 24. And then your b value goes down here, which is a 5. Question, what two numbers multiply to be negative 24? Multiply, or a fancy word is product, and then their sums, those two numbers add to be 5. Well, those two numbers, I don't know them, so I'm going to write my factors all out for 24. And why did I not use negative? Because you can make either of these integers over here in my orange positive or negative. So 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Did I miss any there? Okay, so can it be this 24 and 1? No. Can it be 6 and 4? No. 8 and 3? Yes. And 12 and 2? No. So your answer is 8 and 3. Now, after you have those two numbers, you need to check, should I put a positive or negative? Well, you look at the 5 there and it's positive, so the 3 has to be negative. 8 times negative 3 gives me negative 24, and 8 plus a negative 3 gives me a positive 5. Okay, I'm going to write this out because it can confuse students, so I want to make sure you don't do this. Some students might write this as their answer. Luckily, it wasn't one of the choices, but that one can be really confusing. And I'm going to write, this is a common mistake. Why is this a common mistake? The student used the x method to factor, but if you could put your finger on it, the mistake that they're making is that your a value is 2. Okay? What does that mean? You have to use the x and the box. So I'm going to summarize it right here. If you haven't been paying attention, here it is. Not the trick. You use the x method when a is equal to 1. Okay? You will use the box. You have to use the x and the box when a is bigger than 1. So 2 is bigger than 1, so you have to do both the x and the box. Okay. Here's another way to know that this is wrong. We're eventually going to be multiplying polynomials, and if you just take x times x, you multiply them, that's x squared. But in the answer there, it says 2x squared in the original problem. Okay, so that's why I said common mistake, not the right answer. Okay, let's fill this out. So let's use our color coding. Maybe this will help you. Okay. A value, all of it goes right there. Our B term, pay attention. Your B term has now been split between these two numbers. That's why I'm writing them there and there. And then your last one, your C term, including the negative sign, will always go in the bottom right if you have one. So let's write that in. So pink, I have 2x squared. The blues, I have 8 and negative 3. So you notice the highlighted blues, if you add those together, make sure to add an x. Negative 3 and 8x equals a 5x. And the orange is negative 12. And we're just going to take the greatest common factor here. Okay? All right, here's another common mistake for students in this one. they might put an x right there, and that's it. Actually, that's the right answer. Let's try that again. They might put x right here, and then 2x, because you can multiply. X times 2x gives you 2x squared. But here's where it goes wrong, and this is where you'll need to erase. That's why I'm trying to show that to you. Because 2x times something equals negative 3x. It would be a fraction. Okay? So that would not be good. So if that happens, you just switch where you put them. You write 2x here and x here. Because x times 2x equals 2x squared. 2x times something equals 8x. Well, that would be a 4. I'm trying to show you guys a different way of getting those answers. So it's not just, yes, if you take the greatest common factor, it would be a 4 in this direction. Okay? But I'm trying to show you a different way again. And then this way, of course, you would say the greatest common factor is a negative 3. But again, you can take that out by just saying x times something equals negative 3x inside the box, like a multiplication table. And that would be a negative 3. So our answers on the outside would be 2x minus 3, and x, that 4 there is positive, so this would be my answer. And that would be choice 2x minus 3, and x plus 4 would be choice C. That would be my correct answer. Just as a way of checking your answers, this is what we're going to do later on. We're actually going to start on the outside of the box and go inside. And it's just a multiplication, and this actually helps you because it's like x times 2x will give us 2x squared. Okay, you just keep multiplying those, or the FOIL method. All right, hope that was helpful for you guys. Good luck.